On the rugged coast of Maine, the villagers of Blackthorn Cove spoke in hushed tones about the lantern boat. It was said to appear on stormy nights, its single flickering light cutting through the fog like a phantom's gaze. Sailors whispered that those who followed the boat's glow never returned, lost to the sea and forgotten by the living. Despite the warnings, one man scoffed at the legend. Captain Edward Mallory, known for his boldness and his arrogance, he dismissed the tales as superstitious nonsense. When a fierce nor'easter struck the coast one October night, Mallory decided to prove the lantern boat was nothing but a trick of the light. "I'll find this ghost ship and show you it's a bunch of bunk," he declared in the village tavern, his voice slurred with rum. "Don't tempt the sea, Captain," old Marjorie the innkeeper warned. "The lantern boat doesn't forgive those who mock it." Undeterred, Mallory and his small crew set out that very night aboard his fishing vessel, the Stormbreaker. The wind howled and the waves clawed at the ship's hull as they ventured into the churning sea. The crew, a group of hardened sailors, whispered nervously among themselves. Hours passed with no sign of the fabled lantern boat. The storm grew fiercer, and Mallory began to wonder if he'd made a mistake. Then, through the sheets of rain and mist, it appeared. A faint golden light flickered on the horizon, swaying gently as if carried by unseen hands. "There!" Mallory shouted, pointing. The crew hesitated, their faces pale. "Captain, we should turn back," said First Mate Jonas. "This isn't natural." "Nonsense," Mallory snapped. "It's just a light. Steer toward it." Reluctantly, Jonas obeyed. The Stormbreaker cut through the waves, the mysterious lantern growing closer with every passing moment. As they neared, the crew could see the outline of a small rowboat. It drifted eerily, untouched by the raging storm, its single occupant cloaked in darkness. Mallory grabbed a spyglass and peered through the rain. The figure in the boat wore a hooded cloak, their face obscured. They held a long oar in one hand and the lantern in the other, its golden light casting unsettling shadows over the water. "Ahoy there!" Mallory called out. The figure slowly turned its head toward the Stormbreaker. Even from a distance, Mallory felt the weight of its gaze, a cold, piercing sensation that made his skin crawl. The figure raised the lantern higher, and the light grew brighter, almost blinding. The crew covered their eyes, shouting in alarm. When the light dimmed again, the rowboat was gone, replaced by something far more chilling. A procession of ships emerged from the mist, their hulls rotted and broken, their sails torn to ribbons. Ghostly figures moved on their decks, skeletal sailors with hollow eyes that glowed faintly. The ships glided silently, their lanterns swaying in unison like mourners in a funeral march. "What in God's name is this?" Jonas whispered, crossing himself. Mallory stared, his bravado crumbling. It's just an illusion. Keep steady." But the ghostly fleet closed in, surrounding the Stormbreaker. The skeletal sailors turned their empty gazes toward the crew, their bony hands clutching rusted weapons. The hooded figure from the rowboat appeared again, standing at the helm of the largest ship. "Edward Mallory," it said, its voice echoing like thunder. Mallory's blood ran cold. Who are you?" The figure lifted its lantern, and Mallory saw its face, gaunt and lifeless, with empty eye sockets that glowed faintly gold. "I am the keeper of the lantern. You have mocked the sea, and now you will join its lost." The lantern's light flared again, and the air was filled with the sound of cracking timbers and the cries of the damned. The stormbreakers shuddered as the ghostly fleet began to converge, their spectral forms blending with the storm. The crew tried to flee, but the icy grip of the phantom sailors dragged them into the depths. Mallory fought to the last, cursing the keeper and the lantern boat, but as the waves claimed him, he saw the hooded figure standing above, its lantern casting a pale glow over the dark waters. By dawn, the storm had passed, and the villagers of Blackthorn Cove found the wreckage of the stormbreaker washed ashore. There was no sign of Mallory or his crew, only a single flickering lantern sitting on the beach. From that day on, the lantern boat became more than a tale. It was a warning. Sailors in Blackthorn Cove spoke of its glow with reverence and fear, and no one dared challenge its power again. When the mist rolls in and the lantern light appears on the horizon, the villagers know to stay ashore, for the keeper of the lantern still waits, watching the sea for those who defy its will.